Welcome back to a slightly damp rabbit's chair. It's raining and it's not really comfortable to sit on here at the moment, but it is spring, or at least spring is on its way. So this weekend it's the equinox and we're going to go and have a look at the fields, have a look how wet they are, see if anything's growing yet, and have a get an indication of how long it may take for the animals to go back out. So last week we looked at the chickens and what we feed them and a little bit of information about Sally's research. This week we'll have a look at the alpaca because they're sort of mooching around the yard, nibbling away at some haylage in the middle of the yard and generally just interfering with everything. They're quite good fun when they're around. Last week we also looked at the films. This week we would have had a gathering. So we're going to have a look at what we do as a gathering. Down at the carousel, we're going to clear the stage, well, at least the old stage, and look back really, see how we've used it in the past, and talk about what we're going to do with it. And we'll probably have a fire this weekend and celebrate the equinox on our own. And yeah, a bit of reminiscing there. So yeah, let's go, let's have a look. So we're going to have a wander over to the field. Go and check whether it's still waterlogged, which at the moment underfoot here it's pretty bad. Check whether we can get the animals out soon or not. It'd be nice to get the alpaca out soon. And as we go up here, it's quite nice to think about all the performances that happen. So this is quite often a path that we take, leading from the farm over to the field. To do the performances. So there's quite a few performances, and particularly nice to reminisce about these at this time of year, because quite often we do the performance at the equinox, celebrating the spring, or at least the coming of spring, by coming over to the oak tree which stands here. So quite often we've had performances in the past that revolve around the oak tree, either bringing branches to it or staging performances around it. So we'll put a few of those in for you to have a look at and talk a bit more about them throughout the week really. So this is one of the branches that was tied to the tree, and there's still a little wish belt on it after all these years. There's the sort of branch and the sheet that was used aging nicely around the tree. Part of the continual growth, and we always do check this to make sure that we relax it from around the tree as it grows over the years. So it's not like a restriction for the tree, but it's part of its natural process as the sheet decays. Well, the field's kind of as expected, so it's starting to dry a bit. It looks a little bit undergrown at the moment. It's still not really going to be starting to grow. We also have quite a few geese come and sit on here eating it back, so they keep it quite low at the very beginning of spring. The ground's drying a bit, but it's still quite slippy underfoot. Our main problem is this gateway and the excess water drying out, and we want this stable enough to actually come through with animals and with the tractor without doing even more damage to the land. So it looks like it's going to be another sort of 2 or 3 weeks at least. So as you can see, the field's still pretty wet up there. It's getting there, but it's still pretty wet. So it means the alpaca are going to be in the yard for a little bit longer. So let's go and have a look at what they get up to. Sally will give you a bit of an introduction, and we'll just generally spend a bit of time hanging around the yards with the alpaca.
Hi, so the alpaca have had to come in for the winter. They have no lanolin in their wool, and so they'd absorb the water. So it's not the cold that's the problem, it's the wet and moisture. So we bring them under cover under the barn for the winter, and as soon as they can we'll take them out across into the field.
Why don't the show begin? Draw underneath the eye, where you cannot hide, holding it closed, blinking inside. I can see the spotlights. Please let me in. I want to go backstage to understand who I am, to really feel alive. Oh, director, would you direct me in? Oh, please show me in to your world. Nobody knows where I'm hiding underneath your skin. If the sunlight shows in your shows, would you please tell me where to go?
Well, we like having the alpaca in the yard. We quite enjoy them. The dogs enjoy them being around, and they have quite a nice calming effect on the rest of the animals there. But they've got to go up to the field soon. They take a lot of care when they're down here. We're going to need to clean up all their coats ready for shearing and ready for us to process their wool. But yeah, we enjoy them down here. So over to Ed, who's been working on this bike, trying to get it running, and we actually managed to get out on a bit of a run the other day. So let's have a look how we got on. So that was quite a short run, really. We felt there was something up with the brakes, so we checked them, came back, and he's just got a bit of a binding front brake, so he's in the middle of clearing that caliper. I think he's doing a film of it to put elsewhere, so if you're interested in that, you can catch up with him somewhere else. But now it's time for us to clear up around the carousel and try and get things back in order down here. So the main job for today is dealing with this stage. So we quite like the aesthetic of all of the tassely old tarpaulin as it's aged over the years in the wind, but we're going to get it back in under control a little bit, clear up a bit of wood from around the side, get it ready for pulling back towards the perimeter fencing, and generally just have a good clear up. So yeah, that's today's job. Time for a lunch break down at the carousel. So Ed sat in the rabbit's chair, eating what looks like one of our carrots on his plate. That's something he's dug from the garden recently. We'll talk about that in the next few weeks. And I've just noticed that the elderberry's starting to sprout, which is quite nice. So the next thing we're going to do is start work on these chairs. So we've been clearing the stage this morning, and there's a big pile of wood that we need to move from over there. We'll do that in the next few weeks. It's a pile of old insulation that we're going to use as the basis on the chairs. So that's the next job today, is work these chairs out, somewhere to sit around the fire later on. Well, it's been a busy day so far. We're just losing light, but we have a new base on the rabbit's chair. New base around these chairs, new backing. Ed's just taken one of the chairs apart. It's out of focus because of the light. There we go. And come around to here and have a look at this chair. So really, essentially, we just sort of like got them ready for concreting. Well, it's been a long day round the carousel. We've managed to sort out a bit of the stage. We've started to reconstruct the chairs into a seating sculpture. And we've just had some lentil soup, some bread and some homemade wine around the fire to celebrate the equinox. So spring has just begun. So that's just a few of the things we get up to when we have a gathering. There's a lot of experimental performances, ideas, sketches, working with other people, trying things out. And a lot of the time they lead on to bigger projects. So they're quite a valuable experience for us. And for the artists that come along, we're really missing them at the moment. And really, hopefully, we can have some again soon. But we'll see. We'll see how we go on. So yeah, this week's been quite a busy one, really. We've managed to get a bit more of the stage done and getting these chairs sorted out. Rabbit's got a nice new base that we need to concrete over, but that's nice and dry, so we're much more comfortable now. Fields are still pretty wet. Alpaca are still enjoying their time in the yard, but they'll be out soon and we'll watch them go out in a few weeks. So yeah, the next week I think we're going to be looking at the garden and having a look, see what's coming through, getting things ready, setting some seeds, clearing up around there and checking out yeah, how to protect it from all the other animals, really. So we'll see you next time on the Rabbit's Chair.